I thought this would be a good moment to respond to the Tribune story that just came out about Andrew Bailey demanding records from the city regarding their DEI practices, which he says are in violation of some law that applies to universities and not cities. But for me, this is like a really hilarious opportunity, right? So like all you have to do is look around in Columbia and look at our disparate outcomes, and you'll realize like the city does not practice equity at all. Like that's a joke. So to me, that's hilarious. The other thing is, I mean, the city can finally come out and say, guess what, Andrew Bailey? We've never given a shit howdy doody about equity or social justice. We pretend, we said we were going to use a racial justice equity toolkit. We use a racial equity lens, but they haven't done any of that. I mean, come on. Everyone that works in the health department just about's white. Most of City Hall is white. I mean, this is white supremacy paradise. There's very little incursion from people of color, making inroads on, the establishment. So, I mean, the city should just come out and say, we'll give you our agenda and the things that we wrote, but if you were to audit us to see if we practiced equity systemically, the answer would be no. Like, this city is allergic to equity. Like, they're not about having that at all. Now, you might see more systemic and equity practices in the health department. They are a lot more conscientious. You might see it in some other places, maybe in the police department. Maybe there's been some changes there. But in terms of our institution, altogether, nah, not so much. So I'm really interested to get a copy of whatever they give Andrew Bailey. I suspect they will say, well, we're not going to give you anything. But the thing is I believe that Nancy Thompson is the one feeding Mr. Bailey, because she's a Trumpster. She's all about supporting her team, right? And her team is not pro-democracy. They're fascist, right? They're white supremacist fascists. You could think, South Africa, think Germany, these are people that have some really bizarre ideas about democracy, but she also has some bizarre ideas about transparency. So I'm pretty sure if we were to ask her, like, what kind of correspondence you've been having with the Attorney General's office, she'll say nothing. Or she'll say, hey, you got to go self-serve, look for it yourself. And, then you can make a request for it and we might give it to you. So she has that kind of weird ideas about transparency. So, but I do think that this is a great time for people to really look around and say, like, in what ways is the city of Columbia practicing equity? In what ways does the city value social justice enough to make public policy decisions that are institutionally and systemically embrace social justice in terms of whether it's about homelessness or affordable housing? I mean, we just saw this horrible little thing happen with Douglas Park, where there was really, really no meaningful public process, right? And people not understanding what's happened with Douglas Park historically, and how urban renewal has broken the back of black middle class in Columbia. So anyway, they could come out right now and just say, hey, we've never given a shit about social justice or equity. So, you can be mad at it if you want. But even more than that, they should say, we'll see you in court, fucker. We'll see you there. Come on with your little loud mouth. Let's go to court. So try to drag us through the mud. But I don't see them doing that. But that would be really fun if they did that. But I just want the city to admit that we didn't really do any of this. We haven't. We've just pretended. And move on from there. And we'll see if they actually start saying to themselves, oh, this is embarrassing. Maybe we need to actually do something. We'll see. I'm not convinced.